Marvel Zombies Season 1, Episodes 1 through 4. Was it any good? Let's talk about it. Welcome back, Evariants. We are talking about Marvel Zombies, the new show by Marvel Animation Studios, and this one kicks off with a 4-episode drop. I guess these are the only four episodes of the season. Not sure if they're dropping any more. We'll have to wait to find out. But as of right now, this is what we got. Bear with me. It's about 5:30 in the morning, so I'm gonna get through as much of this as I can and try and cover all 4 episodes and mainly the key points. So this starts off with Kate Bishop, Kamala Khan, and Riri, who have survived the zombie apocalypse, more or less, and they are surviving in the best way they can, going to hunt for food and doing whatever. And apparently, Hawkeye has been stalking them the entire time. Again, still able to use his abilities. Now, that's the thing. The Marvel superheroes and stuff aren't acting like the regular zombie horde. They're just kind of walking around. They are still specialized in whatever it is that they do. So they are firing their arrows, they are using their powers, whatever the case may be. So that's what we get with Hawkeye. Basically, as they go through this, they end up seeing a Quinjet crash, go investigate. Captain America's body, he had something that he was holding on to. It's the device, some kind of transmitter or something that's needed to contact somebody. So they grab that, skedaddle back to the mansion that they're hanging out at, and basically decide, hey, we got to go find a shield base and figure out what's going on with this and how can we get this to, activate or find out exactly what's on it. Again, we need shield. So they end up packing up, their one vehicle that they have, and they set off on a road trip to head in the direction of the nearest shield base, which is somewhere in Ohio. Now, while this is going down, again, I told you Hawkeye was stalking them, but he doesn't seem to leave the city. He only hunts them when they're in the city. But he ended up firing a trick arrow that did not land, but Kate was able to take it with her. So that's one souvenir she has for the trip. Now, while these three are surviving, they still have Friday, who is operating at normal capacity because Friday is not infected like a normal zombie. So they pretty much took, the Iron Man suit without Tony Stark's head, and they put a nice little teddy bear, I guess, in place of that. So Friday is still operating as Iron Man's body. They head off to go find out what's going on, and while they're going to find out what's going on, they end up driving through this valley, which is deemed some kind of valley of the broken gods because it has two people locked in an immortal battle that just causes damage everywhere they go. And we find out that it is Icarus, who is not a zombie, but again, just a being who is here. Because if you watch Eternals, which not a lot of people did, or if they did, they didn't like it, versus Captain Marvel, who is a zombie. So they are just scrapping and basically causing all types of damage around. And if you are foolish enough to get their attention, they will turn their attacks on you and then go right back to fighting each other. That's the whole thing. And it seems like it's just Captain Marvel. Icarus kind of looks like he's careless. He just wants to go after Captain Marvel. So that's what they're doing. But during this process, which I did not see this coming, we see Kate Bishop fire that trick arrow, which turns out to be nothing but a party popper. And she's like, oh crap. And she ends up getting melted by Captain Marvel. Hilarious in the way that it was done, but also so sad for everybody because she has now been eliminated. During this process, we also see that Riri ends up getting bit and she tries to survive it by using some kind of concoction she has. She injects it herself, saying that she's not the way she wanted to test this out, but she's got no choice. But this is how she's got to test it out. And she tells Friday to get Kamala with the device far away from here as possible while she continues to, I guess, hold down the fort. Friday ends up dropping her off, tells her to go, ends up flying back to the fight, and we see a whole bunch more destruction and Kamala kind of getting laid out. But as she comes to, she ends up being picked up by Blade on a motorcycle, who takes her to safety and promises to get her to Ohio if that's where she needs to go. Because Blade is now guided by Khonshu. So it is a Blade Moon Knight combination. Since his original avatar is gone, he decided to come and speak through Blade. So Blade, who is already just BA in his own right, gets to be more on that level. So it's great to see. He ends up taking her to Ohio, where we see a zombie horde who is protecting a building, We find out that more or less the shield database that is there is actually taken over by Alexei, the Red Guardian, Melina, and Yelena, and as well as a couple of widows, and they're holding down the fort there. Basically, the horde who is just moving in with Okoye at the head of it, who also recruits Hawkeye in this process, is still hunting down everybody. So as they're hunting down everybody, they end up storming the base. We end up getting that broken piece of Captain America that was on the ship, which is only the top half of the body. Abomination is also present. So we've got some ghosts there as well. We got some key, you know, big heavy hitter zombies that are there. So they infiltrate the base and basically fights go down. We end up seeing Cap versus Red Guardian, who ends up getting crushed by Red Guardian by just slamming him while he's attached to his backside. During that process, we also see Blade go one on one with Ghost and eliminate her with no problem whatsoever. Like the animation is absolutely beautiful. We see Melina sacrifice herself to make sure everybody gets saved, and in the process, she's developed a kind of this neuro kind of science thing that controls the zombies. So that's how they were able to hide for so long. But even when she turns the zombies to protect herself, Okoye and Zombie Wanda end up turning them right back, and Okoye dispatches Melina very quickly, and they move on to try to get everybody else who's escaping, and the escape still happens as they carry on and escape on motorcycles. So pretty good fight. I think everything was solid in this episode. Again, we're moving the story along. It's a quicker pacing because I mean it's a zombie apocalypse. You don't got time to really slow down, but they set up very well with everybody kind of playing their part. The widows that were there essentially were all taken out as the building kind of explodes. As again the whole self sacrifice thing. So we're left with Blade, Red Guardian, Kamala, are pretty much the and Yelena are the main survivors of this. So they escape on, and that's where the episode ends with them escaping. We move on to episode two. Episode two goes a bit quicker. So we got Shang-Chi, Katie, who are running from the zombie horde, and as they're trying to save themselves and escape, they keep running into more and more. So we got giant human zombies and everything that are trying to take over everything. Again, zombies are falling out the sky. Basically, as Shang-Chi and Katie try to escape, we end up seeing Wenwu, his father, come in with the 10 rings to try to save them. But Shang-Chi doesn't want to leave everybody that they've come across, including, Special Agent FBI Jimmy, the one who used to do the magic and stuff with Scott Lang and kind of mess with him and keep him on house arrest. That one, same one who was in WandaVision. Like, again, he's making his rounds. But he wanted to try and save them. And of course, because he wanted to save them, he ended up getting bit. He started to turn infected. The Mandarin rings are sent over to him, one cinching down and guess cutting off blood flow to eventually stop the zombie, plague from infecting the rest of him. But of course, because he gave up the rings, Wenwu dies. Everyone else is able to escape along with Death Dealer on the helicopter, and they basically fly off to safety. And they got to figure out what they need to do. Now, as this goes on, we see 5 years later, they are kind of like Mad Maxing it up, trying to survive and, transport stuff. They got some cows they're transporting for whatever reason. Again, food is a rarity. So as they're transporting these cows and stuff, we see that the rings are split between Katie and Shang-Chi, and everybody's more comfortable in their skin about fighting. So they're all using their stuff. Death Dealer, freaking Jimmy, and a couple other stragglers that are with them are doing their best to survive and get through everything. While they're doing this, they end up getting to a port where we see that there's a city on the sea that they want to jump in, and the cows are tribute to get them onto the city on the sea so they can be safe. And all this is run by Zemo with his second in command, Walker, U.S. agent. Now, he lets them all come on and tells them that I don't like heroes, but you bring tribute. So come on, we'll go ahead and get this party started. So they get on the raft, they get going, and basically you see them go out to open sea and they dive down to where they can stay safe. And while they're trying to safe down there, we see that there are several little underwater zombies who are running around down there. So you can pretty much kind of feel where this is going. We got Shang-Chi and his crew are still there. His arm's still zombified. That one ring does not leave, but he still has full use and control of that arm. So I'm not sure how the rings are working to essentially do what they're doing as far as the zombie plague, but it spreads pretty quickly because even the 30-foot guy who got bit by I guess several zombies, he changed pretty quickly. So we see that Okoye ends up burning down New Orleans, trying to get them find out where they went, and then she pretty much activates Namor and was like, "Hey, go get them." So Namor ends up going in to get them, and while Namor is on the way, and all the you know different Atlanteans are trying to break into the raft, we see that Zemo has set up a plan all along. His plan was to get rid of the heroes and use them just as they said they would. They would be of service to eject them outside of the ship so that they can feed the zombies, which would leave them alone. So they pretty much eject Kamala and her crew out of the ship. And during this process, she ends up having to put an orb around them, keep them safe. And Namor ends up, coming at that orb and pushing them right back into the raft, which puts him into the raft. And they end up dropping the Hulk containment thing on him, still trying to stop him. And it does not slow him down. Everybody starts running, people start dying left and right. The amount of bodies that are put through this is pretty spectacular, and several people are taken out, including during this we see that John Walker is taken out pretty abruptly. um Again, he's trying to protect Zemo because he's second in command. The escape pods having issues, everybody's running trying to get to stuff, so mainly you got the main teams who are started to get to know each other on the ship. They're now all escaping, so you've got Shang-Chi's team going as well as Kamala Khan's team going, so everybody is trying to get onto the escape pod with Zemo. Now Namor is in there, and Namor is in there trying to fight all of them at the same time. And Namor almost takes everybody out after he takes out Walker and several other side characters, but he ends up going after Kamala, who waves the device at him like, "This is what you want. Come and get it." She puts her fist through his mouth, hardens it, and holds it while everyone else tries to pull him off so he doesn't have use of his arms. And she ends up making that thing into more or less like a mace and just explodes his head. So she takes out Namor fantastically, by the way. But Yelena's got the escape pod up and running, so she has to, eject them out of there. Now, because Alexei has already lost Melina, and now he's losing Yelena because she self-sacrifices, gets them out of there so they can escape, and enjoys one last drink before the zombies start to break in the hatch to come and get her. And that's the end of episode 2. It was like, hey, we we losing people left and right, and it's we got some noble sacrifices, and we got some pretty gnarly, you know, people getting taken out. So we go back to 5 years ago, and we show that the Quinjet that Captain America was in. It said Spider-Man is narrating this entire scene where Zombie Thanos is there, and he's at Wakanda, and he's wreaking havoc in Wakanda. And Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Scott Lang, he's just a floating head with the cape on him. He's trying to take over Wakanda, and this is the Wakanda event that's referred to earlier in the series about how there's a bunch of loose energy and stuff going on. It's because of the Wakanda event. Well, this is the Wakanda event that's happening. So this happened 5 years ago. Thanos, his brain does not fully work to be able to use the stones because again he's zombified and stuff, but he's slowly starting to learn during the course of this fight. So it's funny that they mention that he doesn't have the capacity to do it, but he starts learning real quick the capacity to do it, like as soon as they said it. It's kind of like, why'd you speak it into existence? But everybody's trying to fight, and Spider-Man, Black Panther doing their thing. They have the Mind Stone, which is what he wants the final stone. And even when we have like all hope is lost, we have Thor, Rocket, and Groot show up, kind of how they showed up in Infinity War. They show up ready to fight, and Thanos has no regard for life, and he fries all three of them. Rocket and Groot are killed instantly. Thor, he is, halfway taken out. He's still a god, so he's looks like he's just unconscious, but he is severely scarred. He is jacked up. So Black Panther ends up taking the stone and fighting Thanos with the stone, still trying to do damage, but Thanos ends up getting hold of the stone anyway, and there's nothing else that they can really do. So what is, when all this destruction happens, the vibranium core, the reactor that's underneath Wakanda, the entire surface of that ends up getting ripped up. So Black Panther says, "Hey, I'm gonna take you out," and basically tackles Thanos and drives him into the vibranium core to more or less destroy a bunch of stuff. Now, props out to them. They did not recast T'Challa for this. They did not want to recast Chadwick Boseman at all. So that's why we have Peter Parker narrating everything that's going on and explaining the story so they could, keep that the way it is. So, and I respect it. So they end up doing that, taking out Thanos. Basically, when he fell into that hole, all the Infinity Stones were shattered in that process during the reactor, which unleashed this torrent of energy that just went everywhere. And Peter and Scott were pretty sure they were going to be destroyed, but they actually got saved by the sorcerers at Camartage, and they were basically pulled in through the magic rings so that they could be safe. All right. While this is happening, we see that the on the beach, we see the escape pod freaking roll up. So now we're back to the present day. Escape pod rolls up, freaking you see Alexi is distraught, trying to figure out what to do. Kamala helps them and kind of gets going, and they end up going to New Asgard. And when they get to New Asgard, Valkyrie's there to greet them. After a little bit of back and forth, we see that Khonshu comes out, speaks to Valkyrie, like, hey, we're cool, lets him in. And we see they're enjoying revels. All the Asgardians are just having a good time, except Thor, who is visibly scarred and sitting on the throne, has no fight left in him, is just there, which is similar to his character when he was in the MCU. He's dejected after losing a fight and not knowing what to do, and just kind of there. So same kind of thing. He's just not Fat Thor in this one. With that being said, we see that Valkyrie, is talking to everybody and saying like, "Hey, he's lost the fight. Ain't nothing to try and worry. We got the Queen of Segovia here. You can talk to her instead." And we see that Wanda Maximoff walks up in human form. We're like, "What is going on here?" Everybody's on guard. And even though they were offered food and drink, we see Alexi. He's right at home with everybody. They're eating and drinking, so he joins everybody eating and drinking before all this is going down. And even Jimmy goes to freaking have a snack, and Moon Knight, freaking Blade, smacks out his hands like, "Hey, we're not here for that." And while we have Wanda Maximoff talking to everybody and she's very calm, it goes on its head very quickly because there is like no time for it to like kind of build up or anything. Like it's immediately, yeah, we were lying, freaking, and everybody in there is a freaking zombie. All the freaking food is actually fingers and brains and everything else. And she immediately, subdues Valkyrie, and she's trying to get Kamala and figure out what she wants to do. She's like, "I want you, Kamala. Like, you're who I'm after." So as this is going down, freaking everybody's immediately got to go on the defensive and trying to fight themselves. Thor, who is not fighting at all, is about to get overrun, but Kamala manages to save him. So everybody's scrapping. They end up getting Alexi. He's scrapping too. And in this process, we end up losing Jimmy and we lose Death Dealer. Freaking Death Dealer gets brutally freaking like broken several times over before getting smashed in. Jimmy gets freaking completely dismembered and tore up. So they're both all jacked up. And while this is going on, we see that they're trying to escape, but we see Thor start to, I guess, wake up and stir, and he's getting ready to go. So they're like, "We got to escape to the Quinjet, freaking, she's actually freaking zombie Wanda. We gotta get out of here. Y'all let her, whatever." So basically, they're escaping. They end up getting to their jet that they gotta escape, which is that looks like their little party jet from the leader of Sakar. So they end up getting ready to escape, and as they're escaping, zombie Wanda's like, "Yeah, no, y'all ain't going nowhere. Come back, chill out. I'm gonna keep y'all here." Alexi is starting to turn, and he immediately turns. Again, it doesn't take much. He's been eating zombie food, so he turns. He's got to get pushed away, and to keep him from, you know, getting anybody there, so he gets thrown away. They're trying to escape. Thor ends up coming down and basically starts scrapping with Wanda. It's really good, and he tells them again that self-sacrifice, which has been the theme of this entire freaking show. "Hey, get out of here. Why are you still here? I got this." So Thor starts scrapping with everybody, and they end up taking off in the ship. So that's the last thing we see is them really fighting, and they end up heading up to space to go do the transmission. Now, once they finally get up there, they are finally about to put the little device. It doesn't need to be supersized back up to whatever it was. It just needs to be activated. So they put it on the ship, activate it, and start calling a Nova Corps. And everybody's happy. We finally made it to call the Nova Corps. We are here. Great, fantastic. Let's run this. They call the Nova Corps, and the Nova Corps immediately responds. What do you mean immediately responds? They are in a grid pattern. You got to remember how it was in Guardians of the Galaxy. They are in that same grid pattern, completely quarantining Earth, and they give them 10 seconds to return back to Earth. Because if anybody's trying to escape, they're going to destroy it. Their whole point right now is to quarantine. So they were never going to help. They were never going to do anything for them. Their whole goal was to quarantine everything. And apparently, whoever was building the device had no idea that this was going down. So that's the problem. What are you going to do? Basically, the ship gets destroyed. You know, Kamala freaking is just trying to hold things together. So we end up moving on to episode 4, where the Nova Corps is, again, they destroy the ship. She puts them in a ball. They're falling to Earth to try and survive. Freaking Valkyrie, of course, is making jokes. They could have asked nicely. They did ask nicely. They gave you 10 seconds to return to Earth. You sat there and got shot at. That's y'all fault. Now, as they end up falling to Earth, that her bubble can only hold for so long with that hardening. It manages to keep them safe through the atmosphere, but it breaks as they break through the atmosphere, and they're just falling to their death, more or less. And basically, magic circles. Kamartaj is up saving them and lets them know that we got a fight coming. Zombie Wanda lives, and she has confiscated all the Asgardian ships, and she's bringing all her zombies in. So we gotta get ready to go. So Spider-Man and Kamala start talking because he's there at Kamartaj. He was saved by them um, before the end of the world, as far as the Wakanda event. Him and Scott Lang. So now they're pulling the whole team together, and this is where we really get the meat and potatoes of who's really going to be in this fight. And right now, Spider-Man is talking to Kamala. We see, Thor made Kamala an Avenger right before she left. He said, "You're an Avenger. It's official." Like, bam. He didn't say it in so many words, but you get the gist. So that's kind of the motivation that kind of brings the fire back to her, because she's losing people left and right and she feels bad about it. And the entire time she's been having these nightmares and stuff too. She sees stuff. She's been seeing zombie Wanda in her dreams and her nightmares, whatever the case may be. She's been seeing figures. She's not sure what it all means. But when she finally gets to talk to the sorcerers, they explain to her what all it means and stuff and what's been going on. Because what they did was they used Hulk, Bruce Banner, to jump in, and basically he's absorbing all the energy from the Wakanda event to keep the world together. He's become an anchor in place for all of that. He is the Infinity Hulk. Yeah. So he's all white, bald, and freaking got a bunch of rainbow powers going through him. He is the key to all this. If Wanda gets a hand on him, she's going to siphon all that power, because he is currently the anchor and the cipher for all the energy. She wants to take his place and get all that power. Now, with that being said, and all the energy being released, they got set up for the final battle. So everybody's kind of getting ready, and we see all the entire horde ready to go. Like, they are coming in hot. Entire thing runs in, and Abomination is the first one there. He is still alive, and he is running through to go handle business. And what ends up happening is Hulk one shots this dude, as well as several others, like several hundred of the zombie horde. Like, he is just taking them out, and he is fighting them mainly with shockwaves. Like, he is punching and slamming his fists so hard that he is killing most of them with just waves of air and energy and whatever the case may be. So basically, everybody's scrapping at this point. You got 3 giant zombies come in. They're trying to take him out. He takes them out. Freaking every wave that comes at him, he's taking them out. And that's all the way up until the Asgard ships start firing on Hulk, and they start, messing him up. And that's when Wanda attempts to take the power for herself. As soon as she's about to get a hand on him, she gets smacked away. And the reason she gets smacked away, because the rest of the squad has showed up, and they jumped through the Camartage portals, and they are now standing in a line, ready to go. We are going to defend Infinity Hulk and not playing no games. So this is where the real fight starts. Everybody starts scrapping. Spider-Man, he is webbing up and ripping off zombie heads with no remorse. Scott Lang is, running through everything. We see the Moon Knight blades and stuff coming out. Blade is actually coming through with his sword, taking care of business. Like, everybody's actually, doing work. You got, a couple sorcerers who are redirecting the fire from the ships back to the ships to destroy them, using the portals and stuff. You've got, I can't remember his name, the Green Ox, or the Minotaur. Like, he is going through and he's, using his horns to full effect and getting stuff done. So all this fight is going on, but we got more and more heroes that are showing up who are now zombies. So we actually have the original Ant-Man, freaking, so Hank Pym and Janet freaking show up, and they're in their small form, and they're trying to get stuff done and trying to take people out. What ends up happening is Hank ends up going small, they're at the wrong time, and Blade cuts him in half, while we have Janet, who goes big, and she's trying to stomp Valkyrie, and Valkyrie ends up climbing up through her fist and explodes out of her head, taking her out. Like, you got these fantastic displays of power, and these awesome, gruesome freaking, explosions of body parts and everything. And everything's kind of going good. Like, they are figuring out, what they need to do to take people out. We see Hawkeye sneaking around. He's doing something. don't know what he's doing, but he was sneaking around, and Wanda's still trying to move in, but we see some red lightning in the sky. And you know what that means? We got zombie Thor who shows up, comes in, and he's about to go one on one with Infinity Hulk. And as soon as he shows up, Hope arrives as well, and she's big and she's trying to come in and do zombie things as well. But with Thor comes in and he fries the two sorcerers that were like redirecting all the blast. He fries them almost immediately when he comes down, and then goes straight at Hulk, and like they are scrapping, going at it. Zombie Okoye is going at it with Valkyrie, so they're fighting. We actually got, you know, with Kamala, she's trying to figure out what to do, and as she's fighting, we see that Thor ends up getting smashed by Infinity Hulk. Finally, like after he's taking so much damage, he's been smashed. But that's the opening that Wanda needed. So Zombie Wanda comes up and then starts siphoning power from Infinity Hulk. While she's doing that, Kamala goes and tries to stop her and cannot stop her. And we also see that all of her friends who were her friends before are now all zombies, and they're all there and they're coming in to attack all at the same time. So now you've got Kamala who is torn between everything. So now everybody's being attacked by multiple zombies. Spider-Man's getting hemmed up. He's about to get his head bit off by Hope. We got, Scott Lang being pulled in by the cape. Blade gets fried by Thor before he died. I forgot to mention that. Blade got fried as soon as Thor went to go attack Infinity Hulk, he fried Blade instantly. I was like, for him being so, awesome throughout this entire thing, he got fried so quick and it was done. I was like, yo, nobody's off limits. Like they are, nixing everybody off the table. So Spider-Man, Scott Lang are still surviving. So that you've got, you know, um, Kamala trying to figure out what to do. Infinity Hulk is still holding it down. Uh, the Minotaur, I believe he got, slaughtered as well. You got and Shang-Chi and Katie are still surviving, but Shang-Chi gets bit again on the neck this time while he's fighting. So he's looks like he's turning. He's about to be done. So people are getting lost left and right. Again, people are trying to survive. So Valkyrie Okoye, I mentioned that people are trying to survive and figure out what's going on. And then you see Wanda, who's just playing the mind game stuff. Is like, is meant for us to stop this. Is meant for us to fix all this. Like, you got to be just take my hand, be with me, whatever. And it seems like Kamala just loses hope and whatever. She's like, it can't be this way. And she ends up taking Wanda's hand. And she takes Wanda's hand, everything changes. The entire world that was spinning and all the energy kind of blasts and radiates out. And then Kamala wakes up in her room and her mother's calling her, "Hey, come downstairs. Your friends are here." And she's like, "What? What's going on?" She runs downstairs. There's Riri and Kate. She's hugging them and loving on them. It's like, "I missed you guys." And she remembers everything. She's like, "I feel like it was a dream. Thing. I feel like I ain't had boba in 5 years. It's been whatever the case may be." And she's just talking. They going out. They're having a boba and having a good time. And they end up eventually seeing this cute guy walk in, which is the Red Dagger guy from Kamala Khan's series, from the Miss Marvel series. He's there and he's looking all cute, and they're like freaking, "Oh yeah, you should talk to him," stuff. But what happens is Kamala sees flashes of zombie. Like, it changes from like a nice scene to a zombie scene real quick. So at that, and she looks over and sees it happen with something else, and she's trying to figure out like what's going on. Like, why is all this happening? Why is she getting all these flashes? And as she's looking, she starts to see flashes where she sees people, and then it flashes and she's Riri fighting off zombies. And Riri's like, "Hey, don't believe it. Don't believe none of it. None of it's real." And so like that. And things keep flashing back and forth between regular world and zombie world. It's like, "I hacked the signal. They're not real. You gotta get out of there," whatever the case may be. And all this is going on. And eventually, you see Kamala and she's confused and she's just looking at Kate and Riri who are sitting in front of her, is like, "What's going on?" And it just kind of starts to fade to black. And then you just see a flash of zombie Wanda. And that's the end of the series. So that's it. That's all episodes 1 through 4. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Again, it's 5:30 in the morning. It's going, 6 o'clock now. Like, hey, this has been a pretty good series as far as what it is. I want to know if they're going to do more as far as it goes. Honestly, I feel like they could have just made this a movie. You could have done this as like a special and just made it one movie. Like, you did not need the 4 episodes. Like, it made no sense to break it up to me. Again, but I don't see the vision, so I could be wrong. But I feel like you could have just put all together, had like a Marvel Zombie special, and left it on the cliffhanger like that. And then if you're going to do more later on this year and drop like a second part to it, cool. Or if you're going to come back next Halloween time frame and drop it, that's cool too, I guess. However you want to do it, but it's obviously meant to continue another season. So I don't know if it's gonna be like they've been doing with some anime. So it's like episodes 1 through 4. Don't know if they're gonna do episodes like 5 through 8 or something like that, or if they're just gonna go straight to a season 2. It just doesn't make sense with how many episodes it was to make it a season. You could have just made it one thing. But I digress. Um, Overall, I thought it was solid, but I think the main thing that wasn't as predictable was the deaths. You didn't know who's going to die and when they were going to die. It's kind of like, hey, what's going to happen? But it's obviously Riri survived her being bit, and now she's trying to do whatever she can to get Kamala back. So whatever she used probably worked. So now it's one saving grace, but Kate, pretty sure, is all done because we didn't see Riri go down. So solid series. I give it a I give it an 8. I give it an 8 just as far as pacing goes. It was really good pacing. The animation was solid. I loved seeing the fights, the kill scenes and stuff like that were really really good for all the fights. Again, it's a zombie apocalypse. Like I don't know what you're expecting. If anything, freaking super great. Like for this being the animation it was solid. Um, but again, I think that they could have either added more to this or kind of set it up in the movie format. I got nothing else. I'm going to be rambling at this point. So leave your comments down below. Tell me what you think of the series. Would you watch if they did a season 2? Do you think that they need more? Again, this is a spinoff of the What If series. So I don't know how much they're going to continue as far as Marvel Zombies or if we're going to get back into any What If in between. It's kind of a wait and see. But again, comments down below. Make sure to love the red subscribe button. Again, love hearing from each and every one of y'all. Freaking glad that you guys joined me for this. Make sure you check out a review on Gen V episode 4 that Brent took care of because zombies came out at the same time. So we're trying to pull double duty here and make sure stuff was taken care of. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Later.